Hello, this is the Conquering Hill podcast. I'm your host, Nicholas Ganger, and today I have a very special guest, Samantha Jayne. She is a award-winning spiritual business mindset coach, showing purpose-driven business owners how to create success without selling their soul. She received two business awards in 2022 and already has been recognized as one of the most inspirational businesswomen in the UK to watch in 2023. Thank you so much for coming on, Samantha. How are you?
I'm good. My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So back in 2020, Samantha, we entered the pandemic, and you talk about how you lost a lot of some of your business and kind of found yourself starting all over again. Can
Yeah.
you speak to that?
Well, basically, what happened here in the UK was obviously we got closed down, like the rest of the world. We got closed down, and I had obviously service based business then, doing a lot of therapy work as well as the coaching, which I still combine. And of course, that meant shutdown. And as a director here in the UK, we had no financial support. So we went virtually what felt like at least overnight from being successfully in business to being absolutely shut down with no income stream or government support or anything like that. And so that kind of plummeted me into that sort of dark space of suddenly having no income, single mum, all the rest of it. And yeah, that's where I was. As I say, that was the first, as we went into what we call the first lockdown that we had here in the UK.
Yeah, the lockdowns were not easy. Some countries had it a little bit, worse than others. I mean, I got stuck out of Panama because me and my wife we own a hostel there, and you know, in a way, I guess it was a good thing because they were so strict where they only allowed males and females to go shopping separately on certain days of the week and on certain times of the day. Also, here in the United States, depending on what state you were located in, there were different rules, compared to New York or Florida. But such a weird time. Looking back on it now, I kind of think like, how did we allow that to happen to an extent, right? And knowing that what we know now, right, certain things, being promised that the vaccine would work and it also didn't work. You can still catch COVID, still transmit it, all those things. So it almost, I mean, how deep do you really want to go down the rabbit hole here, or in general? But like, let's just not let that happen again. Christ, let's have our freedom first and foremost. So Samantha, you are a spiritual coach. So describe, what does a spiritual coach do?
So the way that I work is I blend healing and coaching and spiritual concepts. So my work is very much around manifesting with the universe, as in connecting with your soul's path and the soul's journey, rather than something perhaps your ego might get sucked into as some money making scheme. And instead, so I work with business owners who've got businesses where they feel it is their purpose. So they tend to be businesses of what we call service, and we go through processes to release any trauma energy, because if you have got trauma in your life, at some point that's going to come back and bite you and block your flow of abundance and your flow of creativity within your business. So it's a blend of healing work, energy work and activations, as well as coaching the mindset, because you need all of it together to really jump fast, because your mind will be holding on to old thinking, old behaviors, and we have to release that if you want to get into that abundant flow and do what you were put here to do.
Mm. Now, your clientele, how would you describe the demographic of your clientele? Are they more, are they in search of something, or do they kind of like stumble upon your work? Where are they coming from?
They tend to have been in business for anything from 6 months to a few years, and they know they need something, and they feel that they are blocked. They feel that they are stuck. And then basically, I join the dots between the personal, because it's always in your personal life, the personal life experiences that are now showing up in their business sector.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to separate both of them sometimes, right? They always say like, leave your home, leave your life before you go to work, or leave your home life before you go to work. But that's really difficult to
No,
do, right? Because I mean, we're human
right.
beings and we have emotions, and something happened, or we had a phone call on the ride to work, and then we walk into work, and you're still feeling the effects of that. How do we separate separate the two.
Yeah, exactly. So through grounding, through being aware of your energy, learning how you behave under certain pressures or situations, and just changing your attachment to experiences.
Mm,
Because everything you've ever walked through, every experience, every situation you find yourself in only carries the weight that you give it. And so
hmm.
by changing in becoming conscious about choosing that consciously rather than allowing, because I coach to the subconscious. So if you're just walking around, just letting the ego and the subconscious completely control everything, and by that what I mean is if you're living through responses, then you're always going to be triggered. It's learning to not be triggered, learning to know where things are coming from and dealing with that, tackling with that, rather than letting it run your show for the next 2 weeks. That's how we progress. That's how we step forwards far faster than if we have to do that work purely through experience.
Mm. And so I was on your website, and you talk about karmic cleanse therapy. What is karmic cleanse therapy?
So I work with a lot of clients who've been through trauma. I work with a lot of clients who've been sexually abused, incest, domestic violence, whether that was as children growing up in it, and also what we call poverty mindset, bullying. All of these things will play out in the business. So we need to remove them energetically from your what we call the aura field, the soul imprint, so that they are not part of your story. If you've got all this trauma, it doesn't matter. I always say to my clients, your lips are moving, but your aura is pinging. If your aura is saying, no, 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 I'm not worthy of that, I'm not worthy of that, it doesn't matter how many times you say that affirmation, it's not going to land. It's not. It'll land for a little while and then it will crash because deep down you believe what you've been raised on if you've gone through trauma. I also work with a lot of clients, obviously, because of work on the spiritual aspect, who have endured in past life what we call persecution energy. So someone
Mm.
like me who's psychic and healing, I've probably, I don't know, been called a witch in many lives before and things like that. I've probably been hung, drowned, set fire to. but that gives you, I see that in clients where they're frightened to be seen because being seen in a past life cost them their lives, or they had the tongue cut out, or things like that. So, on a deep, deep soul level, they're hiding even in this lifetime because they've been persecuted for their gifts and abilities in life. Well, we have to shift that as well.
Mm. So I guess I should roll into the ancestral clearing. So how do you go about ancestral clearing then?
So, what I'm able to do as a healer, because I'm a multidimensional healer, is I can put myself into a trance state, and what I bring through goes through. So, I'm able to tap into your energy. And we have many timelines. When you get up in the morning, you choose the timeline that you are stepping on.
Mm.
And so we can clear those timelines of that negative energy. So I'm able to go into your energy field. I can go backwards, forwards. I can go sideways into parallels that are playing out. And if you've got a parallel playing out because you're kind of haunted by a choice that you made or didn't make. So, for example, if some guy proposed to you and you said no, and you still, even though you're happily married, it still plays in your mind that you wonder how your life would have been if you had said yes. That is a sign of a parallel life playing out, because there's a part of your soul that's fragmented, is in another dimension doing that. They said that part of you said yes, and they're in a different journey. But we have to bring that part of you back for you to be whole and for you to be well. So that's what
Mm.
that is. And then with the ancestors as well, then we have got all of that karmic debts from our ancestors. If your Uncle George screwed over 1,000 people of their land and their property, then no wonder you're having problems creating abundance.
Mm. Very interesting. So, uh, talking about the best method of self discipline, in order to
Mm.
use self discipline, how do we use that to keep that money mindset every day?
Every day. I think the ultimate self mastery, self discipline is emotional mastery. And if you are in control of your emotion state, you understand it, you know where these energies, these emotions are coming from, you know how to handle it, you know how to clear it, you recognize it, then you're not controllable by external influences. And I also think, being motivated and persevering in business, it has to be something that matters to you. There
Mm.
has to be a mission. You're not in business, you're in a mission. And, what is your mission? And that's what you have to tap into. Because if you're having a day when you don't feel like doing it, you've gone into your head. You're in the ego state. You're in the head. You've dropped out of heart. You're not in it for the mission. You're not in it for the purpose. You're in it for yourself, and you're not going to flow. So it's being aware of that discipline of knowing and connecting to yourself, constantly reconnecting to the why.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why is very important.
yeah, and yeah, we have to have a personal why as well as a mission, a business why. We have to have two whys. We have to have the personal why to push us through the hard work days, and we do have them. If anyone tells you they don't, they're lying.
No, it's true.
We all have those moments of what the hell am I doing? What's the point in this? What am I doing? What am I playing at? And that's why you have to have a mission, because you have to be able to tap back into the we, get out of the me, get into your we, and get on with it. And that's what we do. We powerhouse up and we step forwards.
Very nice, very nice. So tell me, going back to trauma, right, and how trauma impacts our life, how does that impact our ability to manifest everything in our life and manifest happiness to begin
Yeah,
with?
because it comes under that self-worth heading.
Mm,
If there's something buried deep within you that feels you can't risk being seen, being hurt, that you don't deserve the success, that there's a fear of judgment on success, fear of envy, fear of ridicule, any of that will block your path. You'll only ever get yourself, I see it in clients, they only get to 75% of what they're capable of.
yeah, 75% rule, right? I think
Yeah,
we like you say, we block our own progress through our own mindset,
yeah,
so instead of like, we don't deserve all of this, or yeah, you're right, maybe, if I do so great in this field or that field, people will look at me differently. I should just keep myself at a lower level, so we're all kind of in the same sphere and I'm not above them. Or you feel bad for being successful. I mean, that's not everyone's mindset, but that probably is a majority of people. That's kind of why we kind of limit
yeah.
ourselves. You do consider yourself a multi-dimensional healer, trance healer. What exactly does that mean?
So because I have psychic, I'm a psychic, and I've been like that all my life. I don't know any different. What I'm able to do, and I do work by day. I coach, by night I'm a medium. So I
Mm.
basically am able to connect to other dimensions, other beings, and I'm able to channel that energy as part of the healing process to do that deep energy work that needs to shift that trauma, that memory, especially if it's past life memory. We have to get rid of that so that we're as pure and sat in light as possible to be the light beings that we are. That makes sense.
So, I mean, yeah, we just met, obviously, and I'm not sure if
Yeah,
you could go back in my past lives. My wife, she's a believer where we are the current life we are living, that we are brought here on this earth again, is to kind of learn, kind of battle through what we weren't able to finish in our previous life. That we were put here to learn something, and in our next life we are put into another life to learn something more about it. It kind of just evolved that way. Does
mm.
that make sense to you?
Yeah. I wouldn't use the word learn.
Okay.
You know,
I
we're
might
in.
be I might be paraphrasing it wrong, to be
That's
honest
all
with
right.
you.
But we're in the process of ascension, and ascension is
Right, right, there it is.
basically we're here to heal this earth,
Hmm.
and obviously to heal the negative trail that our ancestors have left behind, and that includes us in past lives as well. So basically, each lifetime that we're here for is to heal. to heal past stuff and also to heal the new stuff that we're creating in this one as well. So we're not
Mhm.
constantly creating more work to do. That's
Mhm.
ascension. People say to me, well, when does this ascension finish? And I say, well, when you pop your clogs, you know. And then what happens? Well, you get to come back and do it all again.
Right.
It's a never ending cycle of
That
healing.
never
Yeah.
ends. It
Yeah.
never
That's
ends,
it.
right?
Yeah.
And so, how would you describe a 3D world versus a 5D world, and how do we manifest things inside of both?
Okay. 3D world is all created through the mind, through thought. 5D is created through the heart vibration. So love. Won't sound like a hippie chick. It's all done through the love. All right. So basically, we magnetize in through love and attracting, because things and stuff love to be loved. So you've got to love the money for the money to love you and find
Mm,
you. You've got to love your soulmate, even though you don't know what he or she even looks like. You still got to feel that love to bring that person in. Whereas when it's 3D, we believe we have to think, 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 think. So we get a plan, we get a strategy, we do this, we do that, we do all the affirmations. It's all thought form. Whereas 5D is we sit back and we allow it to come to us. But what we also have to do, we still have to act, don't get me wrong, but we connect intuitively. We go in the feely space and we connect intuitively with what is the next aligned step. Make sense?
yeah, very very interesting. And how have you been able to do that in your life personally?
Well, I operated that way massively from the lockdown that we talked about.
Mm,
So in the space of 3 years, I've gone from zero to six figures. And very, very fast. And I've taken clients on that journey as well, numerous clients of all different sizes of business, because it's just about manifesting what you need. What do you need to have the next step in your vision, in your mission, to have the next level of impact? And then, of course, we have to get the ego, the 3D brain, to be willing to let go of the fear of that and step into that role. So you're constantly growing and developing. You're constantly moving into the next version of you, which requires you to lose old versions. That's all part of 5D, that's part of ascension, and that's how we manifest. So, by doing that work, you can manifest much, much quicker. So, most of my clients come to me and they do 5 years business in 2 years. But the difference is that they're loving it.
mm.
We don't work hard. We don't. On the whole, we don't work hard. It comes with ease. It just aligns. You think you need something, push, there it is. It drops in. All of these things just appear to come to you from nowhere. And it's because you're aligning. And that's why you always hear me banging on my social media. Stay in lane, stay in lane. Don't let your brain, your mind, take you into someone else's path. Stop looking what other people are doing. Focus on what you're doing and where you are going.
So true, especially when you're passionate about something and you are moving in
Mm.
that direction. All these things come out of nowhere, like, oh, how did this happen? It's like the whole saying is, I don't need luck. I create my own luck
Yeah,
by being in line, aligned with exactly what
absolutely.
I'm going for,
Mm.
and everything will work out because that law of attraction, that magnetism that we have while we are pursuing our goals and our dreams, it just all comes together, and it comes. Yeah, of course, there's some work involved, but if you love something, you're not working. It doesn't feel like work because you love it, because that's what you are
Quite right.
meant to
Yeah,
do. And there's unfortunately there's a lot of people in this world that aren't tapped into that yet, or they don't
no,
understand how to get to that point.
yeah,
Um,
and
and I
that's what
think
we
I
have
wish that could be taught at a younger age, right? I think if,
absolutely.
especially in like the schooling system, we're taught the basic arithmetic, or science, history, which half of it is probably not even true. Like you have to like deprogram yourself or relearn things when you get out of
Oh, goodness me, the
education, right?
3D. Yeah, that's
You know,
3D world. Yes, go into education, use it to get the pieces of paper you need to be able to do what you want to do, but then come out of it with 5D attitude.
hmm hmm Yeah, because yeah, we need help. Everyone needs help along the way at a certain point, but at the same time, we decide how far we want to go. We decide when we want to stop or take a break. We decide when we go to bed, when we wake up. Everything is in our own hands. So to make excuses in life. That's just laziness. That is just the limiting belief of where we can ascend to in life, as opposed to saying, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I want to do this. Let's go out and do this. So like the power of the mind is very, very powerful. Tell me a little bit about that. How powerful is our mind and thoughts?
It's incredibly powerful. And once you realize it, you have to be very mindful of where you let your mind take you and what you think. I always joke here because I say something and go, oh, no, remove that, retract that, I retract that. I didn't mean that. You got to be careful. Every word you speak is a prayer, and every prayer is answered. Everything is a request, the good, the bad, the indifferent. The universe doesn't know, it just delivers. So you really do have to be mindful of where you allow your mind to take you, and take back control of where it takes you by staying focused. And again, that's done by feeling from a good space. That's why we talk about positive mindset over and over again. Yeah, we bore people to death with it, but it is the truth, because if you're up there vibrating positively, the mind finds it very hard to bring in a negative experience for you to walk through to get the same outcome. Make sense?
Yes, yes, and having a positive mindset, like you said, is very, very important. It is not always easy to stay there. That
Yeah.
is that is that is a
Yeah.
difficult task, and I found myself in that same realm. When I can tap into the positivity, into the AKA beast mode in my life, like I'm unstoppable. But
Yeah.
but what it becomes for me personally is, staying there. How long can I run that? How long can I be disciplined in that area? And then, a day or two goes by and I kind of like, not necessarily negativity, but like I didn't exercise that day, for example, or I didn't get to write or read that day, for example, right? So like,
Yeah.
so it was, now I got to get back into it. So like staying consistent, personally is always been something difficult for me, but like I always know what I have to do. I always know I have to get back into it. But to
Yeah.
be able to tap into that every single day now, having children, having a job, or working on in Panama my business, there's always things pulling you in every direction. For me, so I understand how it can be difficult for people in life.
Yeah. But that's where meditation comes in.
Mm. How
That's where
often
the
do you meditate?
meditation comes in. Pardon?
How often do you meditate?
Me. Oh, multiple times every day.
Hmm.
I actually began my journey as a meditation tutor,
Very
but
interesting.
and it's 22 years I've been teaching meditation as part, which has progressed into being part of this work, because that's how we pull back into our own energy field instead of being scattered in all the externals. You've got to keep coming back within in order to center yourself in your own energy, because the
Hmm.
mind is always out here. It's an external thing, it's always out there, whereas your soul resides within. So you've got to keep pulling back into that connection to again stay in your lane. But it's also, you're talking about flow. I don't believe in this work life balance. I think it's a load of baloney. I really do. I don't think there's any such thing, because what I do believe in is flow. So some days, what you talk about, Nicholas, is some days you're on fire and you've got
Hmm.
to sit in that energy and work, 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 work to just create, 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 create. And then the next day, you've got to then allow yourself to re-energize. Yeah. So it's about responding to your flow, not trying to achieve the impossible of this work life balance. And instead recognize that you're going to have 3 days a week, maybe, where you're doing like me. I work 4 day weeks. So I'll do 4 days of working 12 hours, and then I'll do 3 days of downtime where I do whatever feels right and good for me. They're both as important.
Hmm.
They're both part of the creation process. I can't do one without the other.
Mm.
And
Well,
it's a
thank you for that.
two-way.
That makes me feel so much better about when I have a day off and I like.
Absolutely. Re-energizing. And
Right.
that's where your inspiration comes from as well.
Hmm.
I
Very
have
nice.
courses, and I always joke with people, the one thing you want to get your head together, go and poop it.
Yeah. So true,
That
right?
gets your head together because you've totally got out of it. I'm in the middle of a field, middle of nowhere,
Hmm.
with horses, nature. That's when it comes in.
Now, when you meditate, are you just meditating in silence? Are you listening to anything, or do you have a guide that you something you put on the radio? Or I'm sorry,
I like to use
speakers.
guided meditation simply so that I come back in the room because if I go, I go.
Mm.
So, it'll be 4 hours later and it's like, has anyone seen Sam? It's like, that's how it would be. And then obviously I also record and my clients use them actual activations which are meditation based to activate and trigger the energy and open up the energy for the manifesting, for the creating. Meditation isn't just for healing and it isn't just for relaxation and stress. It
Hmm.
could be used for anything. It's basically an access to that energy field that you need to tap into.
Now, how about your dream world? Like, what is your dream world like? Do you wake up, you have these amazing, vivid dreams? Do you immediately wake up and write things down? Or how would you describe that as a separation of your real life to your dream world?
Not anymore. I have clear dreams which are communication dreams. So I have a number of dreams that I know if I have that dream, I know a business opportunity is about to come in or this is going to happen by the details of the dream. And I pay attention to who's with me in the dreams and things like that. But what I find is I wake up every morning with a song playing. That
Mm.
song is a message. Um, or I will wake up knowing absolutely what I need to do. I'm one of those, I can go to bed thinking, right, I need to work out that. And I'll wake up in the morning, I have absolute clarity. I need to do this. I drive my PA mad. It's like, no, scrap that. We're not doing that. We're doing this, you know. But she's used to it now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic. And you also talk about how your single parenthood. How has being a single mother helped you become the person you are today?
I think it just creates this because no one is coming to save you. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking, obviously subconsciously, that someone is coming to save them. See it in women. I'm sure you see it in men, but I work predominantly with women. Just that's just how it goes. You know, you can't be pinning your future life, your future dreams on being in a relationship and co-creating with someone else. You've got to get on with living and do it for yourself. And I think when you're a single parent, you just have this resilience and this ability to just keep going, to get up out of bed, to keep going. And that you can flip that into a positive again and just see that as drive and use that. And when you've got mouths to feed and things like that, you'd be amazed how you can be very
Resourceful,
resourceful.
creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people would say that's a trauma response, but I say, well, I think it's just learning years of learning to be resourceful, and
Hmm.
that I don't see that as a bad thing.
Hmm.
No one's going to starve on my shift.
Right, right. That's very important for sure.
Yeah.
So, so what's on your radar as far as 2023 is concerned? Where are you headed? What are you thinking for this year, the rest of this year?
2023 is very much for me about community. And I feel there's a lot of power in building communities of business owners. That's why I coach in that way. I do one to one, but I've got groups that I coach into groups and mastermind programs as well. Because when you work in a collective energy, you manifest faster. Obviously, there's no room for competition. We don't do any of that. That's your ego. If you've got issues with that, you've got to sort that out before you step into a collab room. But it really is about tapping into collective energy, community energy in order to power up. I run VIP squad, and when one of us levels up, we all level up. That's why I always joke with them and say, "Oh, brace yourselves, I'm going in," because I know if something's coming in and I'm going to go up, I'm going to take the whole lot with me. Nothing
Perfect.
up. You know, because we're in this collective energy. And tapping into that is far more powerful than trying to do it all on your own.
Right, right. And from a personal experience, when I first started building the sour salt hostel in Panama, and before she was my wife, she came out and visited, and we had other volunteers. At one point, we might have had like 4 or 5 volunteers at once with us. So we had like 6 or 7 people. We weren't really open in the sense legally, but we were accepting guests. But like we had so many projects to do between like moving rocks, painting, cleaning, building, like, and we were just able to hammer things out, and it was great. I mean, we had so much energy, like, especially me and my wife. Like we wake up in the morning, and we did not stop until we went to bed. Like it was like all day. Okay, we can work outside there in the morning. Too hot? All right, let's go work inside. It's
Yeah.
nighttime now. All right, well, we can paint inside now, or we can paint, or all these little things. Like we kind of
Yeah.
adapted to the day, and that was an amazing time. Because we go like talking about the flow again. And that particular time we had this amazing flow, and now at the hostel we don't need 5 or 6 volunteers per se every single day, but we still bring on volunteers to help us with certain things, whether it's family or animal care, or working in the gardens, whatever needs to be done.
Yeah.
And it's amazing collectively how much you can get done, and different ideas, and different, it's always a good thing to have more than a couple of set of eyes on something, because
Yeah.
something can spark, and then you feed off of that idea as well. So like to do everything yourself, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to do things independently as well, because especially,
Yeah.
well, working in the restaurant business too, you always think like, for example, I could do that faster, or I could do that better. Like, get out of my way. The food has to go out faster than this. Come on, move your ass. Shit like that.
Yeah.
So I have that part of me, but at the
Mm.
same time, I appreciate the collective teamwork effort, which is also in the restaurant business as well.
Oh
Is of
yeah.
course,
Yeah.
but I would tend to believe working as a team collectively can you can get further with sometimes with
Right.
less too.
Right team. Yeah. And what you're talking about, that experience that you had, that's pure alignment and abundance right there.
Hmm.
Because what would that have cost you?
Right.
Have contractors come in and do all of that work at that speed.
Yeah. All we were doing at that time was, we're
Yeah.
feeding them 3 meals a day and a place to stay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the universe looking after you, though, isn't it?
Hmm.
And they
Yeah.
probably loved every minute of it as well, and probably went through their own personal journey within it.
Right, right, and that's why it was kind of created. My
Mm.
goal for creating the sour salt pasta was for every visitor uh, to leave destined to pursue their dreams. For the universe, I wanted the universe to visit and to leave destined to pursue their dreams, and whether that
Yeah.
through volunteers or guests, all those things is kind of more of like a place where you can re-energize, refocus your life, and kind of tap into
Yeah.
your dream, your passion, right?
Yeah.
Um, Sorry, I got someone trying to call me here.
That's all
Should
right.
have put that on mute.
It's usually me that does
Yeah,
that.
right, right. Well, it was very very nice meeting today, Samantha. Tell
You?
tell our audience where they can find you and how can they get in contact with you.
I'm on Facebook, Samantha Jayne, spiritual coach Samantha Jayne. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn. Samantha Jayne. The Jane is spelt with a Y, and the website is Samantha-Jane with the Y.co.uk. But yeah,
Oh,
reach out.
all
Reach out.
right, excellent, excellent. Very nice to meet you again. I wish you all the best moving forward throughout
Thank you.
2023 and beyond. Keep up the great work. Truly a pleasure speaking with you today.
Angie, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Like to
you.
support the podcast, please visit Amazon.com and search Conquering Hill 50 writing prompts for a dream chaser. And also visit Etsy.com and search Conquering Hill for all our gear. Thank you.